Today we're looking at the Elektron Model Cycle's chord machine and my favorite way to use it. Freebeat. Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, let's get started. So today we've got the Elektron Model Cycles in front of us, and like I said in the intro, we are going to be taking a look at the chord track. Now, the chord track is pretty interesting, honestly. You've got a whole bunch of different ways you can use it. Of course, just like the other tracks, the pitch knob will control the pitch and up to 2 octaves in either direction. The decay knob will also affect the decay. However, the color knob and the shape knob is where things get interesting. So we're going to first start with the shape knob, and the shape knob actually affects what chord you are playing. So of course the model cycles, each machine is monophonic. However, it can play predetermined chords using the shape knob. So if we turn the shape knob all the way to the left, we'll see here it starts with unison times 2, which means we've got 2 oscillators playing the exact same note, or carriers. I don't know what the FM term is, but there's basically 2 notes right there in unison. The next option when we turn the shape knob is unison 3. Then there's unison 4. You can hear that it just gets a little thicker there as we add more sound. The next option is just a simple minor chord. The next option is, where is it? A major chord. From there, we move on to a little more complicated chord types, like a suspended second chord. And then we have, I believe, a sus4 is next. Yep, one of my personal favorites. Then we have a minor 7th. Then we have a major 7th. And from there, it goes on to a whole bunch of different chord types. There are 38 in total. And the last one is actually an important one. It is fifths. So if you don't know what that means, basically, it's the 1 of the chord and the 5 of the chord. On a guitar, this would be known as a power chord. Now, if it was just that alone, that would still be pretty interesting, because the sweep knob and the contour knob still affect the overall sound. And of course, we can add delay and reverb and, use all the other tricks that the Model Cycle sequencer has up its sleeve. We can use the LFO, the punch function, change our sound how we want. But the color knob is where things get even cooler, because the color knob affects the chord inversion. Now, if you don't know what that means, basically it means what notes are actually used to make up the chord, I guess is the simplest way I can put it. I'll put a little demonstration video on screen, but you can see this is a C major chord, and this is also a C major chord. We are using the notes C, E, and G. I'm just putting them in a different order and in different places on the keyboard. So back on the cycles here, we can see that with the color knob, if we keep it right at number 32, it says root position, or root POS. And as we move that, it'll change the inversion of the chord. So right now I'm still set to fifths on the shape knob, so let's go ahead and actually change this to, let's just pick a major chord. There we go, nice and pretty. Let's move the color knob all the way down to 0 and see what it sounds like. It's just 1 note. Let's slowly turn the color knob, and we can hear more notes of the chord being brought in. So there's our complete major triad. Now, if we continue to move the color knob, it's going to start to move those notes up the keyboard. Until we get to about 45, when it starts adding some different inversions. And there's a stopping point right there at 62 that says first inversion, which is a really nice marker to have in there. Second inversion is at 74. Third inversion is at 84. and then all the way at 127, that's what you get there. So keep in mind, these are knobs on the model cycles, which means that each individual step of the sequencer can have a different knob setting. So I'm going to take this back down to 32 here, which of course is our root position. There we go. There's our chord. And I'm going to put eighth notes on my sequence. It's pretty boring, right? So now I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite ways to use the color and the shape knobs to bring a little life to your track. It almost feels like you've got like a guitarist playing with you, or some kind of like rhythmic strummed instrument, because of the way that you can use this to propel your track forward. I'm going to demonstrate a very, very simple version of this for you guys, and then I'm going to switch to another project that I've loaded up that has a little more complex chord progression and arrangement using the color and the shape knobs on the sequencer. So we've got our major chord repeated 8 times here. So now what I want to do is to change the inversion on every other step of my sequence here. Again, my sequence is just these 16 steps. So I'm going to hold button number 3 here, step number 3. I'm going to change this to our second inversion, the color knob, which is 62. And sorry, I misspoke. I meant to say the first inversion because we were on the root position there. So now, instead of doing that for all of our offbeats, I can just hold number 3, click copy. Now we're going to copy that onto number 7, onto number 11, and to number 15. Now let's listen to what this sounds like. Not that great. Let's try to continue and actually go to that second inversion, which again is 74. Now let's copy and paste that onto our offbeats. To me, that sounds a lot better, and it's got some variety to it. It's the same chord technically, but it's not repeated the same way over and over and over. And of course, we can hold down like a random step here, like how about 11? And let's drop down our inversion to somewhere in between the second and the third. So let's put it at 68. We can clearly hear where the 68 is in there. But you can tell it's the same chord, just played differently. So now what if we want to spice it up just a little bit more? Now, the step I'm going to show you here will depend on what key you're in and whatnot, and it will be important to know that. But we're going to add a little bit of a suspended chord in there, and we're going to put that on step 9. So I'm going to hold step 9 down, and then using the shape knob, I'm going to find sus4 for a suspended fourth. There we go, right there. Now I'm going to copy that. And I also want to put that on step 13. Paste that in there. So now let's listen. Now we're really getting somewhere. Let's put a suspended second on step 15. So hold down step 15. Move this with the shape knob to suspended second. There we go. Now, what if we want to fill that out even more? What if we want some 16ths in there to get some like something like that? So on the E of 1, which is step 2, we're going to put that on there. We're going to hold it down. Now we're going to use the shape knob and go to the very, very last option, which is fifths. And we want our inversion to be pretty low there. Let's just try it at 6. It's not perfect, but for just the purposes of this video, I think it works. Now what I want to do is eliminate step 3 here, and then copy step 2 and paste it on step 4. So now we've got like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da type feel. So let's listen to that. And I'm still not completely sold on the color knob position there, so let's just mess with it. Now we can just kind of clean it up. So all I really hear that's jumping out at me is I want the decay of this step here, step number 2, to be softer, or a lot shorter, sorry. Not that short. A little bit of reverb. Just like that, we've got a nice sounding little chord passage here. And this is all just based around that major chord with a couple different little extensions with a suspended fourth and a suspended second. It's really that easy. You can just play around with these two knobs, color and shape, and really fine-tune what you want. So I'm going to show you guys something that I came up with a while ago, actually, and I totally forgot about until today. And here we go. Let's go ahead and load in pattern 1, and you can hear I had some fun with the chord machine. As you can tell, it's pretty similar to what I just played in terms of concept. I think I was still messing around with just some major chords and some sus4 and sus2 chords. Rhythmically, you can hear that I changed a few things up, and then of course I also did mess with the color knob and my inversions quite a bit. But yeah, I think it plays pretty nicely. I'll play a little more this time. As you can hear, it almost starts to feel, like I said earlier, kind of like a guitarist is playing along with you, with those really rhythmic approaches to the machine. So there you have it, a fun way to use the chord machine on the Elektron Model cycles, one of my favorite machines to mess with. And then of course, like I showed earlier, we could have played with that further with the sweep contour knobs, the LFO, punch effect, all that different stuff. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If so, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can leave a dislike, that's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.